Good afternoon again, YouTubers. Wasn't going to do much of a video because what I'm going to do today is not much of video. But I figured I'd bring you along for kind of an update. Directions have changed yet again on the truck. So I happen to be perusing through the old internet and trying to figure out some certain things on the truck, like exhaust. I have to lift the neck of the shifter. I have to rebuild parts of the transmission because it's an older 92 transmission stuffed into an Opel body. So I figured I go looking for like well, this one's a Chev, a dedicated transmission, the NV4500 Chev edition. But I know that the Dodge also carried it as well, so that was the Dodge edition. The Dodge had a slightly different shifter, so instead of mine being kind of over to the side, the Dodge was straight up and then came over to get around their dash. With the 4-inch lift, mine being as cocked over as it is, the shifter now hits the floor. And I just had to take my plate that I had on the floor off, and it's mutilated when the truck body crushed it. I forgot to take the shifter off before lifting the body. I took everything else off, tested the tensile strength of the ground cable, but everything else rod-wise was taken off the truck and then lifted. I forgot about the shifter. So, in doing so, I went searching for the internet and seeing what type of shifters I can do, because it's just 4 bolts and the whole top piece of the transmission comes out. So yeah, if I can. So I need a light. So as you can see, it's where the transmission now lies, is 3 inches below my floor. Come on, you stupid light. So I got to replace this boot anyway, so this one's all flopping around and just kind of lazy daying it, so it's needing repair. But there's 4 bolts to hold the whole top of that plate in, and then it does the shift rods. So I was thinking of taking that off and then replacing it with like a short throw style shifter, and then one that would bring it up a little bit. Stupid light. Got a new one for Christmas, and this one's still flaking out. There. So, yeah, all that crap down there and dirt and shit, gotta take it off and then run it up. So, yeah, that one's kind of cocked over a bit. So I want to straighten it up, bring it above the floor. So, when I was looking for that, I came across something else that really caught my eye. And this gentleman, I'm going to have to link his video to it. When I was watching it at work, I didn't have sound on it, so I'm thinking, oh, that was a really cool idea. What he's done is he's made a remote shifter from where that is down to about here in the truck. So instead of having it come up and through this spot here, which is the only way I ever thought of being able to do it. So that's why I built a new center console, because the original center console had the whole thing that went up into the dash. The exact center console this guy has. So what he did is he moved from there, goes back to about here, and then puts a new shifter in. So the shifter is now here, and it's like, oh, in the description is truck shifts like a Camaro, because he's got a Camaro shifter, and then it's remoted to there. And I thought that was a kind of a cool idea. So I started poking around and whatnot, and I'm going to change up things a little bit. He used a tie rod end. I don't know which one he used, but he used a tie rod end, similar, I guess, in the side like this. Mine's a little long. His is really short, and it's bolted right up against the flange. So I don't know which car one he used. But he said it came with a tie rod end, which I have. They may be used, but they'll do the job because nobody's going to see it. So I'm thinking lopping off this one, putting it back in this one, bolting it up, and then putting this shifter, shorted, of course, back on top, and then running it that way. And then putting the original center console back in the truck. So I've already started pulling stuff back out. Like I said, I got to drop the transmission anyway, so I'm working my way from the bottom and working my way back up to the top. I've taken the filler neck off already now, and then disconnected all the batteries and shit for everything else I got to do to this thing. And I got to still do exhaust. I still got to do this, that, and the other thing. What's another thing added to the pile of stuff I got to do? So my theory is he's got essentially the same truck as I do. He's got a regular cab, so his cab stops right about here. I've got the extended, so principle is the same. So he's got the manual four-wheel drive. The center console I used to have until I built this one and got rid of the other one. And I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass that I didn't keep it as long as I should have. But shit sits around. I didn't need it. It doesn't fit anything else, so I got rid of it and sold it off. And I built this one. Now I'm going to have to get rid of this one and get the original one back, or get a original one back and put it back in here. But the seat's got to come out anyway to put that one in there because they bolt underneath the seats. And I got to get that one before I can do any of the rest of the project. But anyway, he's got the four-wheel drive, much like mine. But his handle, unlike mine, comes up and over. I replaced mine because this one really hurt my leg. The one that cocks over. So I went and got one that didn't have the center console stuff and the rod is straight up and down. But anyway, I want to remote this as well to over here and have the shifter remoted over here. So that's the idea change I'm going to do, is put my own little twist on it, but his idea. And it really wasn't his idea. And like I said, somebody else on his channel gave him the idea through the means of the comments below. So I figure, well, it was given to him, and I liked the idea. I just put a little bit of a twist on it for my application, and I'll do the same thing. If it's working for him, why wouldn't it work for me? But yeah, that's essentially what I'm going to do. His, unfortunately, his shifter sticks above the floor by about 4 inches. Mine's below the floor by 4 inches. So that would be about the only thing different for the shifter, but that's the route that I'm going to go. So again, I'm going straight and then going, ooh, squirrel, and off to the good side I go. And again, we're gonna do something different. But that's kind of where the truck sits right now. The engine, after all this, I am going to, I've already marked it out, I'm going to get some electric fans for this thing, take this fan off. I'm really contemplating taking and modifying this again as well, lopping this alternator from here and putting it between these two, and then taking this mount and flipping it on its side to make room for this alternator maybe up here somewhere, so I can actually get at the power steering pump filler. I have no idea what fluid's in there at the moment, and I can't get at it. Because now I have, like, literally an ass ton of room underneath the hood. So, with that, I have also got more room to put an air filter and whatnot, a custom one, over to the air box, or just plop it here and put the fans here. Because the fan right now is basically center of that mount down there, and then I gotta bring up my hose and whatnot, and I don't want it to get it clipped in there, and since I'm so low now, it's going to be a problem. Power steering lines here. So that's where kind of I sit with all this stuff at the moment. So I've got ideas, I have no direction. So I figure if I start from the bottom up, by the time I get to the conclusion of my ideas, I should be there. I've still got to get pipe for the exhaust. I got to get the transmission and stuff out so I can redo the rear main seal. And by the time I get that done and fixed and put back into place, I should have more of a direction of which way I want to go. So I do this as an update video on the truck, but I'm probably going to tie in the update of the update later on afterwards. But yeah, I'm going to link the video because I still have it saved to this individual. I don't even know his name, and I don't know his channel, and I'm sorry about that because I was so enthralled of how the idea is that I beelined for Rock Auto and went, well, I've got to see about getting these parts. And yeah, the project itself, if I was to buy new parts, would cost $20 to do. The shifter, if I get the taller shifter, because there is a kit that I think it's a short shifter, but it's taller on the neck, but it has a long shift handle on it and then is shifted over, is about 75 bucks, which is not big deal. Like I said, I have to rebuild the top of that anyway because it's leaking oil, and that gasket's completely hooched, and I can smell gear oil as I drive down the highway when this thing starts warming up. You can smell it kind of puking out. So yeah, I need to do it anyway. So it's a direction that it's nice to know now, and then I can just go ahead and do it. So that's where I'm at again. So yeah, I'm gonna call it for right now on the video, and hopefully I get more of a confident direction, and I'll bring you along for the conclusion of this direction. So for now, I bid you adieu.